Oh, I like speakers with that.
Open up that a little bit.
Hi. Where are you at?
I am on my reservation here in Hoopa. My mom unfortunately passed away last week, so.
Oh, okay. Hold on. We're trying to do the speakers are right.
Is it long enough?
Yeah, it is. Testing, 1, 2.
I hear you, Larry.
Let me see if I can. It's fun.
I have it's on my computer. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like I have hair all over my face.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go in the next room over here. Okay.
Okay.
Hello?
I got it to work, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the sound of this? Do you know how to work this?
Back over there.
Huh?
Sorry, I'm looking for Michael. At the lunch.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Jill, can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me, Jill?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you really good. We had trouble with our connection over here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me hold on. Working over here.
Okay, this one's working too.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jill, sorry, we just moved offices yesterday, actually.
That it makes things a little chaotic, I'm sure.
Yes. And supposedly we had everything ready.
That's the Murphy's Law. You know, what can go wrong will go wrong.
Right.
Oh, good. Can you?
Okay, well, thank you for joining us, Jill.
You sound a little digital to me.
In and out.
Am I in and out, or are you in and out?
Just us.
We're just going in and out.
Just the image, though. You're good.
That's like a Halloween effect coming in and out of the background. And there's my background.
So a couple of questions. Well, not really. I'm just going to have you introduce yourself, your name, your title, and tell us a little about you.
Okay, my name is Jill Sherman Warne, and I am a member of the Hoopa tribe, an enrolled member of the Hoopa tribe located in Northern California. And I'm also, Yurok is my other tribe that I'm affiliated with. And I am the executive director of the Native American Environmental Protection Coalition. That's quite a mouthful, so we call ourselves NAPEC. And that's a small nonprofit that's in Murrieta, California, that was formed by 4 tribes in Southern California: Pama, Pechanga, La Jolla, and San Pascual. And now we have 26 member tribes throughout the state, down into Nevada and in New Mexico as well. So we service tribes, we work on environmental issues, and that's predominantly what I work with. I also work with tribes who own and operate their own tribal gas stations, and I'm working on becoming a federally credentialed inspector. I went to Humboldt State University, which is not too far from my home. As you can see, I am here at home on the Hoopa Indian Reservation, and it is where our creator kissed the earth. We like to say that this is where our people came from. And right behind me, you can see is the village of Metilton, which is the village that my family came from. And my grandfather was the last, one of the last few people born on the village site itself. So we've been fortunate in that contact for us happened very late within California because the missions didn't come above San Francisco. So we didn't have the mission influence that most California natives unfortunately experienced. So I grew up here in this beautiful valley, swimming in the river that you can see just below me. I'm actually sitting on the back deck of my parents' house. This is where I grew up and spent all of my time. And when I grew up, my father was on the tribal council, and we were really grounded in the ideology that our jobs as tribal people was to serve our communities. So my father really, I had no idea that he had a Kennedy-esque. Kennedy was actually the very first president he got to vote for. And it was a very Kennedy-esque mantra of ask not what your tribe can do for you, but what you can do for your tribe. So it was very much like, what can we do to give back? And my dad was on the school board. He was on the tribal council. He owned a restaurant for a short period of time. And so we were really, they role modeled, my parents both role modeled for me the importance of giving back to our community. So I grew up with that. And that motto has taken me to Southern California. That's when I moved to Southern California 20 years ago. I knew that I had to serve Native people and I had to be of service to Native people. So when I moved, I first worked for Pechanga as their environmental director. And then I moved to SDAIHC and was their assistant government manager and then government manager. And then I am now the executive director of the Native American Environmental Protection Coalition. So I also served, because I was all about the importance of giving back to the community. I did a lot of things on my reservation, like registering people to vote. We grew up, we have to, as tribal members, we have to register to vote in our tribal elections. So I knew that when I turned 18, the things that I was expected to do was register to vote as a tribal member in my tribal elections. And then I was expected to register in the national elections. And I really loved politics, maybe not tribal politics as much, because that's a little too close to home. But I got to work on local congressional campaigns, putting together phone banks, getting out the putting signs around the community. I got to actually work on a congressional campaign in San Jose, California, and that was a wonderful experience. And then I sat on the California Native American Heritage Commission for about over 10 years. So I learned that service was ingrained. It's the part of who I am. But just like my homeland, my reservation is a part of who I am. I was talking to my husband this morning, and I was saying, you know, this is the place that I come to get recharged. And the whole reason I went to college was because I knew the importance of having a degree for my people, that we had to fight not with weapons, but with our minds. And the mind is a powerful tool, as they say. And if you don't have your education, you know, you're really not being all that you can be. I think, and that means, I don't just mean college. I mean, if you want to be a plumber, you know, our tribal communities need plumbers. Because if anyone's ever had to call the plumber, you know, that's a fairly expensive cost to call a plumber or electrician. Like, we need people in all areas who are licensed and qualified to provide those services to our tribal people. Probably went on too much.
A lot that you do, and it's good to hear that, you know, because more of that, you know. Thank you.
Is my mic not working? Somebody just said they might not be able to hear me very well.
Yeah.
Can you guys can hear me? Okay, cool. Oh, it's everyone else's mic. So, you know, as you know, I obviously have a passion for tribal communities, and that didn't change when I moved off the reservation to the urban environment 20 years ago. I knew that my job was still to be a part of the tribal community, and that I found that with working for tribes. So I applied specifically to work with tribal people, to work with tribal communities, and that's what I did. And 10 years ago, because I've been on the San Diego American Indian Health Board for 10 years, the reason I applied was because, you know, in the lobby, I use the clinic as a consumer. You know, my family goes there. We use the medical services. We use the dental services. We use the behavioral health services. That I wanted to make sure I was giving back. And so I saw this notice about, you know, if you were interested in serving on the board, you know, please call this number. And so I did. And because I felt it was important to give back and be a part of something. And I had sat on my tribal health board. You know, my tribe is the government is fairly complex. So we have a housing committee, an education committee, a credit committee, an enrollment committee, an election committee, you know, medical committee, like planning committee. You know, I think we like to committee everything to death, but we look for individuals to serve on within the community, to serve on these committees, to ensure that we're providing adequate services to our tribal people. And that was what I saw being on the health board, was that I would be a part of providing improved services and continued services to our tribal community. Because you know, for me, moving from the reservation to the urban environment, and I'll let you in on a secret, you know, us res people call those urbans, you know, that they don't really know much. In my own ethnocentricity, I guess, I just had made some really horrendous assumptions about individuals living in the urban environment, that they weren't connected. But what I found was that tribal people within the urban environment do. And in fact, we don't see people, as Native people, we don't see each other very often. The only time we do see each other is if we are coming to the clinic, or we do go to the local powwow. That, you know, we have no way of finding one another, because there isn't a look. Like, unless I'm wearing my cap, you wouldn't be able to say, oh, she's Native. You know, we probably pass by each other and don't even see each other. So we need to find a way to connect with each other. Just like when I come home, you know, I I smell the air, and I smell the way the wet leaves of the fir smells. I smell the way the tan oak smells when it's burning in the wood stove. I smell the river. I smell the green grass at the river and the moss on the rocks. And those smells are you know, they're embedded. I like to think they're actually embedded in my DNA, because our people have been here on this place. My family, we're patrilineal tribes, so I know that my father's 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 father came from the village directly behind me. And that village I grew up seeing. We grew up swimming and, you know, playing around over there. You know, we grew up, the earth is really in us. And so going home to recharge myself, you know, and smelling the smells that not only have I smelled, but my grandparents smelled, and they, you know, those people before them smelled. So, you know, this is where I get my recharge. But when you're in the urban environment, we can't get that recharge, but we can recharge each other by coming together. When we see each other and, you know, and admire each other's beautiful beadwork, or just hearing each other's voices, that there's a connection between us. And that's so crucial living in the urban environment, because we don't see each other enough. That, you know, that's really what the health center brings to us. Is it's more than just the doctor, it's more than just the dental clinic, it's more than just behavioral health. It's a way of us connecting together and knowing that we're still here and we can still make a difference, and we're still doing things for our community. And those things are, you know, that's vital to us as Indian people, to keep continuing on. And our children, you know, I have grandchildren that are growing up in the urban environment. And so we want them to feel a part of their community, because how are they going to know? How are they going to know who they are?
Yeah,
I probably am preaching too much.
Yeah. Well, you touched a little bit about the urban Native community. Can you tell us a little bit more about what
About what I want to tell the urban community?
are you most passionate about the urban Native community?
Oops. Excuse me, my umbrella just fell. Hang on. That's what they say about working with props. Be careful with working with props. I think what I'm most passionate about is making sure that urban tribal people are able to come together and know one another, so that we can really form a strong community connection. You know, one of the things that I think is also important is that we work to facilitate their connection to their tribal people, where they come from. You know, I think it's one of the things for my tribe. You know, we're able to vote for our tribal elections, even though we live off the reservation. We can vote in our tribal elections. And so when I left the reservation, I made it a point that for myself personally, I would make a personal effort to go home and cast my ballot at home. And the reason for that is because I think you need to stay connected to your tribal community. And for us, you know, our tribal elections, we can see that there's a break between the people who live on the reservation who vote one way. You know, they'll vote for one person to be at Sherman, and the people who live off the reservation will vote for somebody else to be at the Sherman. And typically they're the ones making the decisions for us at home. But I think it's crucial that you go home and get your recharge, because that's where your DNA is. You know, if we look at a salmon, a fish that swims in the river is born in the river. It can actually smell the exact place that it was born. They don't know how the fish do it. You know, they're born in the creek or in the riverbed, and then they go out to the ocean and live for 4 years, and then they come back and they can go to the exact same spot to where they were born to have their own children. And well, little fry, I guess it's not children, fish have fry. And I think we as Indian people are the same way, that we need to be connected to our homelands. We need to be connected to where we're from, because I truly believe it's in our DNA. We have what I would like to call an ancestral memory. Our ancestral memory is in our homelands, and we're all unique. We're, people put us together as Native, oh, you're a Native American, but they don't really understand that we have differences between tribes. We live differently. We have different practices. Like I said, my tribe is patrilineal, so we follow the male line, and then you have other tribes who follow the female line. So, it's important for us to be connected, and I want to encourage my urban brothers and sisters to make sure that they make that connection to their roots, and to not be worried or scared at their initial reaction of going home, because maybe initially going home, they might not be welcomed as readily, but when they see that you keep coming back, then they know that your heart is in it, and they know that you want to be there and you want to be participating. And so I would encourage my urban brothers and sisters to always make that connection back to their homeland, because I really do believe it is there is a spiritual connection there. And I think we can't be whole people if we don't have those connections. And I've been really fortunate that my tribe is a California tribe, so I can drive home quite frequently. It's a 12-hour drive, but I can go home quite frequently. And my husband, he's Oglala Lakota, so we make an effort to go home to Pine Ridge as well, and at least once a year. And I would say, if you had to save all your money, collect cans, save your nickels and dimes to go home, I would encourage people to do that, to make that connection and take their children there as well. And then, when they're not home, then I say work very hard to make your connections with other tribal people in the urban environment, because we need each other. Whether it's, you want to borrow a cup of sugar in the middle of the night, or, or something, just, we need to be talking to another. We need to be embracing one another. We need to be around each other.
You got me. You took me back home.
Yeah. No. Like I look around. I'll try to move the camera a little bit. This is the river. This is the river of my people. This is where I grew up hunting and fishing. And if I'm lucky, I can see the otter. The otter swimming. There's a mother otter who has her babies who swim up and down, and they play in the river, and that's really, fills your heart to see that. I see ducks. They're not out there today, but ducks regularly are in there swimming and fishing, and you hear the birds chirping. There's 2 eagles that nest up in this tree up there. I don't know if I can show you the tree. This tree right there, that big tree, there's a mated pair of eagles, bald-headed eagles that go in there, and we can also see golden eagles as well. And there's just something about the smell, the smell of being home. It just hits you inside your heart. And the other thing I would say is create those heirlooms, that my Hoja Hostan, which is my basket cap that I'm wearing. This basket cap was made by my great grandmother. This was her cap that she made herself. So this cap is over 100 years old. And the work that goes into this cap is, you have to pick all of the fibers that are picked to make this basket cap. Take over a year to gather and process, and then the cap is made. So it was like that for a lot of the things that were made traditionally. It took a lot of time and effort to gather these things and create them. And if you aren't as fortunate as I to have a family heirloom like this, create your own family heirloom. Make your own necklaces, make your own, earrings, your own beads. Like, you can do those things and create those heirlooms to pass. Sorry, I'm gonna have to close this umbrella. It's windy here. which is really nice because this valley, you know, we've had the Red Salmon Fire Complex burning on the mountain, and our mountain has been filled with, our valley has been filled with smoke that has been at extremely hazardous air conditions for our community, and they had to evacuate some of our elders because of it. But you know, family heirlooms are created by somebody. So I would also encourage our tribal people in the urban environment to begin to create their own family heirlooms to be passed down to their grandchildren, because all of us know that what we do today is not for ourselves today, it's for the future generations. And we have to remember to always think that way, that it's not about us and ourselves today, it's about tomorrow. So whatever we can do for the children today to make their day better and their life better means that their next generation is going to be better and safer.
Thank you. I like that. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to ask you another question. What do you see in the future of our clinic and our community?
Well, you know, I'm really excited about the future. We have really been, the board has really desired that our clinic become patient-centered and that we offered patient-centered care. And I think we really want for the future to be that people can have long-standing relationships with providers who've been at our clinic for years. I think that's really important, that we have, that patients who come to our clinic feel like they have a home, a true home, for all of their needs. I've been excited, you know, COVID, while it's been difficult to be in COVID, some great things have come out of COVID. And one of those great things is the use of Zoom and electronic, you know, capabilities have really increased. And I think there's a lot of benefit to that, to being able to come together, even if it's on, you know, in an electronic form, we can come together. And I think everything that the clinic is doing now, the cooking classes, interviews like this with people within our community, that strengthens our Native community in the urban environment. So I'm really, you know, I would see the clinic going beyond just healthcare and really becoming a community gathering place. And I think it's possible.
Is there anything else that you'd like to tell the San Diego Native community?
Well, you know, I was thinking about today and I was like, you know what, this place is so beautiful and I have a home here. I would love to be able to, for the youth to come up during ceremony, because during our ceremonies, which are very different, I would love for our youth to be able to come up and camp out. You know, I have some property where they could set up some tents and they could come in the summertime. And I think, you know, that's what making those connections about, is to bring people together and give our youth those experiences that they need to grow their minds and grow their spirits. And so I would love for us to find, you know, what other things and I'm sorry that I've never thought of it before, you know, that I've never thought of, like opening the opportunity for something like that to occur, where people could actually come. You know, they don't have to fly anywhere. They can drive, they can come, they can camp out, they can have a place to kind of commune and experience nature firsthand. And there's probably other opportunities that are hidden within our urban community, and we need to try to, you know, look and seek and find those other opportunities that are out there for our people to feel enriched in their lives from. And I think, you know, again, that's where the clinic becoming the community place, that's where those opportunities will come out of, is they will come to fruition by just being together. So we make sure to tell the youth that they want to come and camp out. They're welcome. If they want to come and swim in the river, you know, there's nothing like swimming in the river. It's a lot of fun.
For taking your time with us. It was awesome.
Yes, yeah. thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it, and I'm so happy to be able to share my home. I think it really worked out well that you were able to see where I grew up and my reservation. You know, just a piece of the beauty that exists here. I don't know that you can see it real well, but you know, the village in the background that's over there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that umbrella issue. Ugh. Come back down. All right. Now I'm really in the sun.
We'll catch up again.
I wish you could smell the air.
Be nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure to hear from you and to see your lovely home and your backyard. That's awesome. And thank you for the vacation for the youth to go up there as well. We have to plan something for sure.
Yep. Well, once COVID is over, you know, I think we should plan to do these things.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
See you around. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Palamia.